Before the eagle banners, before the legions marched in perfect lines, there was one man who broke Rome, not with numbers, not with walls, but with silence, forests, and betrayal. He wore no crown. He commanded no empire. Yet for 3 days in a cold Germanic wilderness, he destroyed 3 legions and cracked the illusion that Rome was invincible. His name was Arminius. To some, a traitor. To others, a liberator. To history, the barbarian who outsmarted Rome's greatest generals. Imagine a mist-covered forest, trees older than cities, fog curling around trunks like ghosts of forgotten gods. In that silence, a heartbeat, then another, 1,000 more, hidden in the shadows. Now, imagine a sound that should never exist in the wild. The metallic rhythm of Roman armor, moving where only wind should whisper. Helmets glint, shields creak, boots sink into mud, and somewhere unseen, eyes are watching. This isn't just another Roman campaign. This is the Teutoburg Forest, 09 AD, and at its heart stands a man who once swore an oath to Rome itself. Arminius, son of a chieftain, raised not in the forests of Germania, but in the marble halls of Rome. He spoke Latin better than most centurions. He rode with the equites. He was a Roman knight, by title, by training, by loyalty. But loyalty has a breaking point. To understand Arminius, you must understand the way Rome conquered minds before it conquered lands. When Rome annexed Germania, it took the sons of tribal leaders hostage, a method older than empire itself. Train the sons of your enemies to think like Romans, and when they return home, they'll fight your wars for you. Arminius was one of those sons. Taken young, educated in Latin rhetoric and Roman tactics, he studied under commanders who had once marched with Augustus himself. He watched them move armies like chess pieces, calculating how to break tribes that had no cities, no roads, no unity. Rome taught him everything: discipline, strategy, ambition. But it also taught him the secret Rome didn't want anyone to see, that an empire is a body held together by fear, and fear can be turned inward. When Arminius returned to Germania, he wore Roman armor but carried a tribal heart. He came as an ally, commander of auxiliary troops, under Publius Quinctilius Verus, the governor of Germania. Verus trusted him completely. He called him friend. He shared his table, his plans, his routes. Rome had given Arminius every reason to obey, but Rome had also given him every reason to hate. Picture this: a cold autumn night, somewhere along the Rhine. Rain falls like needles against the tents. Inside, a map burns under candlelight, routes drawn, fortresses marked. Verus believes he's pacifying a quiet province. Arminius knows he's walking into a grave. For months, Arminius had done what no barbarian ever managed. He united the tribes: Carusi, Bructeri, Marsi, names that Rome considered scattered dust. But under him, they became one storm. He whispered of freedom, vengeance, and dignity. And in that whisper, 1,000 men found a reason to raise their spears. He didn't plan a battle. He planned a trap. The Romans would march through the Teutoburg Forest, a narrow stretch of woodland where legions could not form their lines. There would be rain, mud, confusion, the kind of chaos Rome was never built to endure. And in that chaos, discipline would die. The march began under grey skies. Verus commanded nearly 20,000 soldiers, 3 full legions, auxiliaries, and servants. They carried standards, siege engines, and the pride of the empire. They did not know they were walking into history. At first, the attack came like thunder in the distance, a sudden shout, an arrow, a fallen horse. Then the trees themselves seemed to come alive. Spears rained from the canopy. Trunks toppled, blocking the path. Mud swallowed wheels and feet alike. Verus tried to form a line, but the forest closed around them like a fist. Shields caught on branches, standards fell into the swamp, and command, that sacred Roman order, dissolved into chaos. Arminius was nowhere to be seen. He rode the perimeter, invisible, guiding the ambushes with the precision of a man who knew both worlds, the discipline of Rome and the savagery of the forest. By nightfall, the legions were trapped in the rain, their fires smothered, their wounded screaming into the dark. On the second day, the Romans tried to break out. They were met with walls of spears, their own auxiliaries, once allies, turning against them. Every ravine became a slaughterhouse, every fallen tree a barricade. When Verus finally understood, he did what no Roman commander should ever do: he fell on his own sword. By the third day, the eagle standards were lost. Entire cohorts vanished without leaving even armor behind. Birds feasted on corpses. The forest drank Roman blood until even the soil turned black. Rome had suffered defeats before, but never like this. 3 legions annihilated, not by an army, but by one man who knew exactly where Rome was blind. And yet this is not a story of glory. Imagine Arminius walking through the aftermath. The rain has stopped, but the silence is worse. Every tree holds a corpse, every ditch a memory. He should feel triumph, but what he feels is the weight of both worlds collapsing. Among the dead are men he once trained beside, officers who taught him to fight, friends who shared his meals in Roman camps. They die wearing the same crest he once wore on his own helmet, and he realizes the truth. He has not killed an empire, he has killed a part of himself. Later, when the tribes celebrate, he stands apart. The songs sound hollow. He watches the flames of victory dance across the night sky, and he knows Rome will come back. Rome always comes back. He was right. Within a year, the Rhine roared again with Roman war horns. Legions under Germanicus, the adopted son of the emperor, returned with vengeance burning in their chests. They crossed the river with iron discipline, reclaiming lost eagles, burning villages, and hunting Arminius like a ghost. But the ghost refused to be caught. He vanished into the same forests that had swallowed his enemies. He fought not to win, but to survive. And as years passed, his alliances fractured. The same tribes he had united began to turn on each other. Jealousy replaced unity. The storm he had summoned began to devour itself. Arminius died not on a battlefield, but by betrayal, killed by his own kin. No monument, no grave, just the whisper of leaves over the soil that once ran red with Rome's blood. When Roman chroniclers wrote of him, they did so with grudging respect. Tacitus called him the deliverer of Germania. Velleius Paterculus, who had fought in those same wars, called him a man of unbending mind. To Rome, he was both a warning and a wound. To his people, he was a legend without a home. Centuries passed. Empires rose and fell, and the forest, that endless cathedral of trees, grew silent again. Then, in the 19th century, when Germany sought a new identity, they dug through the soil and found fragments of Roman armor, bent swords, shattered shields, and the echo of a man who once defied the world's greatest power. They built a statue, the Hermans, a colossal figure of Arminius, sword raised high toward the west. Beneath it, an inscription reads, "Germany united, its tribes free." But history is never simple. Later generations twisted his memory for politics, for nationalism, for propaganda. The man who once fought for freedom became a symbol others used for conquest. And yet, strip all that away, and you return to the heart of it, a soldier who learned Rome's art of war, and used it to unmake his masters. He wasn't fighting for glory. He was fighting for identity, to remember who he was before Rome told him what he should be. And maybe that's why his story still echoes. Because deep down, it isn't just about empire and rebellion. It's about the human struggle to belong to two worlds, and the cost of choosing one. Before tanks, before gunpowder, before nations, there was a man in a forest who proved that knowledge can be more dangerous than any sword. Arminius didn't need to outfight Rome. He just needed to outthink it. And for one rain-soaked week in 09 AD, the empire that conquered the world was conquered by its own creation. So next time you hear the thunder of a storm rolling through the trees, remember the man who made the forest his battlefield and turned betrayal into immortality. If this story moved you, leave a like, share it with someone who loves history, and subscribe for more forgotten legends of courage, chaos, and consequence. Because in the end, history isn't written by victors or victims. It's written by those who dare to stand in between. And as always, may history never be forgotten.